ranking the ultimate weapon from every era of history. From the very beginning, the story of humanity has also been the story of our weapons. From a simple club that could crush a skull, to a siege engine that could flatten a city, every era has had its own special tool of destruction. A weapon that inspired total fear and absolute dominance. But which of these legendary weapons was the most dominant? The one that truly defined its time? That's what we're here to find out. Today, we're ranking the ultimate weapon from every era of history, starting with the one that gave its wielder the power of a god, the power of distance. Section 1. The ancient world, the composite bow. Long before empires were built with swords, the ultimate weapon was the one that killed from way back. Sure, the mace and the bronze sword were nasty up close, but the real game changer of the ancient world was the composite bow. Developed around 2000 BCE, this wasn't just a bent stick with a string. It was a high-tech piece of engineering for its day, layered with wood, animal horn, and sinew. This combo stored and released energy with terrifying power. Used by masters of the horse like the Scythians and Huns, and later by empires like the Assyrians and Persians, the composite bow was the peak of ranged warfare for centuries. It could send arrows with incredible force, raining down death from well over 100 meters away, a feat no simple bow could ever hope to match. A single volley from a disciplined unit of archers could shatter an enemy charge before it even got started. It took incredible skill, but in the right hands, the composite bow was the undisputed king of the ancient battlefield. Section 2. The Classical Era, the Roman Gladius. As we move into the Classical Era, we go from the wide-open plains to the tight, disciplined ranks of the Roman legions. And at the heart of that terrifyingly efficient machine, the gladius. It might not look as flashy as other swords, but this short, broad, stabbing blade was an absolute killer. The gladius wasn't made for fancy dueling. It was engineered for one thing: methodical, close-quarters slaughter. Tucked behind a massive shield, a Roman soldier would just jab. A simple, brutal, and relentless motion that carved out an empire. But that dominance didn't go unchallenged. From the forests of Dacia came the falx. A terrifying, two-handed curved blade so vicious it could hook around shields and split Roman helmets in two. It was so effective, it actually forced the famously stubborn Roman army to start adding reinforcing bars to their gear. But while the falx was a weapon of shock and awe, the gladius was the weapon of empire. A simple, ruthlessly efficient blade that perfectly symbolized the unstoppable power of Rome. Section 3. The Early Middle Ages, Greek fire. Some weapons don't just kill people. They kill morale. They inspire a deep, primal kind of fear. In the 7th century, the Byzantine Empire unleashed a weapon that did exactly that: Greek fire. This was no normal fire. It was a chemical weapon, a state secret so closely guarded that we still don't know the exact recipe today. Sprayed from siphons on the front of warships, this liquid flame would erupt with a roar, sticking to ships and sailors alike. And here's the truly terrifying part. You couldn't put it out with water. In fact, throwing water on it sometimes just made it burn hotter. For the Arab fleets trying to conquer Constantinople, the sight of Greek fire was basically hell on water. It turned the sea into an inferno, saved the Byzantine Empire more than once, and locked down their control of the seas. Greek fire wasn't just a weapon. It was a psychological masterpiece that burned its way into the nightmares of its victims. Section 4. The High Middle Ages, the trebuchet. For centuries, the castle was the ultimate symbol of power. Its stone walls looked untouchable. But in the 12th century, a new king of the battlefield arrived to prove them wrong. The counterweight trebuchet. This absolute unit of a siege engine was a marvel of medieval physics. It used a massive counterweight to swing a throwing arm, launching projectiles with shocking force and surprising accuracy. A trebuchet could chuck a 300-pound stone over 300 meters, systematically turning fortress walls into piles of rubble from a safe distance. Imagine the feeling of being inside, listening to that relentless, soul-crushing impact day after day. And they didn't just throw rocks. We're talking about an early, gruesome form of biological warfare, launching diseased carcasses and all sorts of rotting filth over the walls to spread sickness and hopelessness. While the English longbow owned the open field, the trebuchet was the weapon that broke sieges and brought kingdoms to their knees. If you're loving this trip through military history's deadliest hits, do us a solid and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss what we've got coming up next. Section 5. The Renaissance and Early Modern Era, the musket. The arrival of gunpowder changed warfare forever, but it was the perfection of a gun you could carry that truly ended an era. We're talking about the musket. Evolving from the earlier, clumsier arquebus, the flintlock musket of the 17th century was the weapon that put the final nail in the coffin for the knight in shining armor. Yes, it was slow to reload, laughably inaccurate, and forced soldiers to stand in neat little rows, but none of that mattered because of its raw power. A lead ball from a musket could punch straight through steel plate, something even the legendary longbow couldn't do reliably. Suddenly, a peasant with a bit of training could take down a nobleman who'd spent his entire life learning how to fight. It was the great equalizer. Once you added a bayonet to the end, you had a soldier who could shoot from a distance and then charge in for some good old-fashioned stabbing. The age of the sword was over. The age of gunpowder had begun. Section 6. The Industrial Age, the Maxim machine gun. The Industrial Revolution didn't just build cities, it industrialized death, and its most terrifying product was the world's first true automatic weapon, the Maxim machine gun. Invented back in 1884, the Maxim gun wasn't just an improvement, it was a quantum leap in killing power. Using the gun's own recoil to load the next bullet, it could spit out up to 600 rounds a minute, the firepower of an entire company of riflemen in the hands of a few soldiers. Its true horror was unleashed on the battlefields of World War I. Generals who still thought war was about glorious charges sent wave after wave of men over the top into the teeth of entrenched machine guns. The result was industrial-scale slaughter. Unimaginable. A single Maxim gun crew could mow down hundreds of attacking soldiers, turning no man's land into a meat grinder. The machine gun defined the brutal stalemate of the war and stands as a grim monument to mechanical efficiency. Section 7. The 20th century, the atomic bomb. All the weapons on this list could win a battle or a war. The 20th century gave us one that could end civilization itself. The atomic bomb is, without a doubt, the single most terrifying weapon ever used. Born from the Manhattan Project and unleashed on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, its power was something the world had never conceived of. This weapon didn't just defeat an army, it erased a city in the blink of an eye. By splitting atoms, it created a fireball hotter than the sun's surface, a shockwave that flattened everything for miles, and an invisible deadly radiation that poisoned the earth for generations. The bomb ended World War II, but it kicked off the Cold War, an age of pure terror where all of humanity lived under the shadow of instant annihilation. All other weapons were made to win wars. This was the first weapon powerful enough to make winning a global war impossible. Section 8. The 21st century, the armed drone, which brings us to today. Warfare has changed again. Now it's all about distance, precision, and asymmetry. And the weapon that perfectly captures this new era is the armed drone. These unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs, went from being simple spy planes to deadly hunter-killers. Think about it. A Predator or Reaper drone can hang in the sky for hours, thousands of miles away from its pilot who is sitting safely in a control room. Then, with a push of a button, it can launch a missile with pinpoint accuracy. This technology has completely transformed modern conflict. It allows nations to carry out surgical strikes with almost zero risk to their own troops, blurring the very idea of a battlefield. And this tech is spreading like wildfire. Drones are now used by dozens of countries and even terrorist groups, making them a defining feature of conflicts from Ukraine to the Middle East. While nukes are still the ultimate doomsday weapon, armed drones are the tool actively shaping warfare right now, the ultimate expression of remote-controlled, detached, and deadly conflict. So, from the elegant curve of a bow to the cold, digital stare of a drone's camera, one thing is clear. We've gotten incredibly terrifyingly good at inventing new ways to fight. Each weapon we've looked at didn't just win battles, it rewrote the rules of war and reshaped the world. They were the absolute peak of power and fear in their time. But what do you think? Did we get it right? Is there a fearsome weapon we completely missed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this march through military history, be sure to like this video and check out our other deep dives into the past. Thanks for watching.